What's up, YouTube? Welcome to our podcast. So we actually have to change the name of our podcast because we did get a cease and desist letter. I'll put a poll in the community tab for y'all to vote on the name.
We got Sofa, Lee Brews, and it's like Libro, which is book in Spanish, and Brews. Novel Grounds, which is actually a coffee shop that has nothing to do with books. JavaScript, which is TM'd, but I think it's pretty funny. Books Beans, Battlestar Galactica.
I like that one. I thought that was good.
The Battlestar Galactica, I didn't get that one.
The Office.
Like the TV show?
Dwight Says Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Anyway, Cafe the Fae, which I hated.
Yeah, I actually hated. We're not even in the Fae, so it doesn't make sense.
You know, Trey from the Fae will be at the 5K tomorrow.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this will be your one-time opportunity to see him live in person.
I've seen him plenty live in person. I went to high school with him.
He's gonna run it.
I don't know. Is he gonna run it? Do you think he'll run it? No, I don't. No offense to my boy
Wait, did
Trey.
they actually advertise?
Yeah, there'll be live music. Anyways, today, Brews.
Ooh, I'm drinking a cold brew.
Yeah, I'm drinking a brown sugar cold brew, 1820 Coffee House, 20-ounce version. Pairing it with a nice pound cake from Costco.
I'm drinking a cowboy cookie latte.
I drink a toasted marshmallow latte.
Anyway, today we'll be going over the last 4 chapters of part 2. Part 1. Hello, everybody. Today we'll be going over the... Hey, everybody. Today we're going to be going over the last 4 chapters of part 1 in Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn, The Final Empire. Today I'm joined with my co-host, Peter Zulong.
So actually, my name is Peter Zwiener.
My name is Alyssa Luong.
My name is Adrian Martinez.
Angelina Curtis.
So we can get right in. I'll give an introduction to Chapter 5. So Chapter 5, I honestly forgot about it because I read this so long ago. But at the end of Chapter 5, what we see is this guy, Kelsier, goes to this fortress castle kind of thing of rich people. And he goes in there and he takes some ATM.
I thought chapter 5 was pretty cool. We got to see the powers all in action all at once. So it was a nice kind of introduction to the later chapter where Vin starts her training. Because we already kind of have a sneak peek, but then he goes into depth later. After the Yap-ter. It's ATM, by the way, guys. It's ATM, like ATM.
So you like...
Cap that chat. ATM.
So you like chapter 5? Personally, I didn't really... Well, I kind of thought it was a little too, power fantasy. Okay, clearly you're self-insert. Because what are you saying right now? He just took out...
You're criticizing a fantasy story for being fantasy?
It's a little much.
It is a very much and I brought this up in the last episode. Watch that. It's going to be in the description below. It's kind of like Avatar The Last Airbender, except, in Avatar, I guess you can see, I don't know any of the characters or any of the avatars' names, but there's this one guy that does all of the 4 elements. This is kind of like that, right? Yeah, honestly, we got a little bit glimpse into the actual using of the power more than just the soothing and kind of the excitation frequency. What we get into this idea is this push and pull thing that Kelsier was showcasing, and he did mention about how people think that Mistings and Mistborn can fly around, and then he said that this is essentially falling, but in the opposite direction. I do have a fear of heights. Honestly, if you make one wrong mistake or whatever, you could splat, kind of thing, and a little scary actually. But he did do a cool thing right there when he was playing around with that iron ingot, and he killed a lot of people.
Personally, I didn't like the 5th chapter. Anything with what's his name, Kelsier, I'm snore, boo. Get me back to the main character, the girl. I thought the chapter was it was cool. It was good, but I want to see the girl do it.
Personally, I don't know if I can get behind anti-hero characters too much, because he was very much...
Was that a Taylor Swift reference?
Anyway, he was very much killing people, and he was yeah, I love killing people. I kill people every day, and if they are Ska, then even better. Fuck them.
No, he didn't say that.
He did say no. He did say that.
He said if it's Scott that's fighting for the kingdom.
But that's what he said. He said if they're Ska, even better. Because they're traitors, and I was like, I don't know, dude. They're just trying to live their lives like they're living their lives in the final empire. What do you expect?
Oh, you would agree with his brother then. What was his brother's name again?
Marsh.
Marsh. They have some strange names. But, yeah, I do think...
About fantasy names in a fantasy book?
Oh! I just got slaughtered. I mean, it's Marsh fantasy. Okay, yeah.
Alan said that.
I had a few questions that I wrote down. Spider-Man energy jumping around the air like that.
That's not a question. But I do agree. Yes.
So I found it funny that he talks about wanting to kill and all that stuff. Like he's okay with killing. He has a lust for vengeance against this kingdom. But he did leave one of the haze killers to kind of run away and scurry away like a rat.
He left the one haze killer because he wanted it to like make it clear that there was a Mistborn after this lord.
My question is, like, I think it was pretty obvious that he was just after whatever was in the safe. The noble was like, I almost got murdered last night. But it was like, your safe is gone, and also it's destroyed, shattered onto the ground, and all of the contents in it are missing. Don't think they were after you. I think they were after whatever was in the safe. So, honestly, kind of dumb.
Because like if the goal was to make it seem like Mistborns are going after the lords, then I don't think the other lords are going to break into a fellow lord's house just to get some atium. It's like they're probably rich enough for that on themselves.
My turn. I don't think it was his intention to make it seem like he was murdering the Lord. I think that's just how rumors came about, and he was like, okay, I'll roll with it.
It could have been like an afterthought, like after the fact, and be like, oh, maybe we can like turn this into something else. He did make a point to say, like, I wanted to be seen, so.
He wanted to be seen because he wanted to know, like, he was there, he was doing whatever. Like, he wanted rumors to start to get the Lord, like, antsy and stuff.
Well, this actually isn't just chapter 5, so maybe I could bring this up later. But okay, when we're talking about them using it, they say like, "Ooh, the burning the metals." I'm trying to picture like what that looks like. In my mind, I'm picturing like Todoroki from My Hero Academia when he learns that one like fire ice spell, and I'll put a picture up on the screen what it looks like. They also said like Vin was like, "I feel it in my chest," kind of thing. That's why I'm picturing like the X kind of thing. Obviously you can't see it, right? I think it's internal to them too. But that's what I'm picturing, like, would be really cool.
Chapter 6. The Yap-ter.
I liked it a lot.
You definitely got to see, like, it was fine. It was fine. We got to see more of the other characters, and I like the other characters. We got to see Marsh. Marsh is cool.
Actually, that brings up another point. What I was trying to get across was like I'm kind of missing the no-kill kind of hero vibe like the Batman or Spider-Man, and it's just not what I'm getting because I have a hard time like picturing Kelsier as a good guy when he's like just so okay with killing, like not even a second thought about it.
I don't think he was ever promised that he was a no-kill kind of hero, because even, what's his name, Yemen? Yemen was like very adamant with working with him because... Yemen?
Yemen, like the country?
Yemen?
Eden.
Yeden, something like that, something with a Y. Close enough. That's why he was kind of like, ooh, you killed a bunch of people, and then he's like, listen, casualties have to be made, blah blah blah. Which, I mean, he does make a point, but like he is kind of being showboaty about it, and I think that's kind of like, well, the thing is.
Are you saying you wouldn't kill a bunch of slave owners?
No, I wouldn't actually. If I could put myself in here, like if I could make my own OC, I think I would be like one of the guards that gets killed.
I'll include a picture of that on the screen.
I have a hard time picturing the moral situation because they don't really like talk about it too much. If you're not a Ska, are you just inherently bad because you are kind of benefiting from the Empire? He's very okay with killing them without considering that they're just doing a job at the end of the day.
You also have to keep in mind that this is also like a class war, because you know you have like the lowly people who are just poor and also being enslaved, and then you have the people who are born more fortunate than those, and they just have more power in the world, and that's just the way it kind of is. I think if you were born into this position of power, and you would probably like that, and you would probably support the Lord.
They're still benefiting from it. I like to think that there's no like good guys in the story. Like there are better and worse, but there's no good guys, because like you have the slave owners, and then you also have the people who thieve and people who kill, and like everyone is doing something bad. There's no truly good character unless they are just like a saint.
This kind of reminds me of that Luigi Mansions guy. He's kind of like Kelsier. Like he killed that guy, Lord Trusting. Like, and they did throw a fit, I guess, kind of thing about the death of this guy. It's kind of like this Luigi, except different protagonist, because this guy is still like Kelsier is still on the run, and then Luigi was just wanted to have some McDonald's or something like that, I guess.
I think you make a good point, because I feel like the same kind of moral logic is being applied there.
I was kind of surprised that the killing of Lord Trusting wasn't like a bigger deal for the ministry or the Lord Ruler, because in the beginning of the chapter or the introduction, he was like in the middle of ensuring a pretty important deal was being made, and like he was getting verification from one of the most important obligators. And I feel like, I don't know, you see that someone in their entire like not army but like estate got murdered, and it's like, maybe that's a big deal. Maybe we should be, thinking about that, right?
I think he was just like kind of so distant. He wasn't anything huge. He was just a plantation owner, lived in the country. He wanted to go to the big city to have like more of a prominent force in the noble sphere, but unfortunately his life was cut short.
Moving on, going back to the conversation in the book that they're having about like making their plan and stuff. Because that was chapter 6, right? That's why y'all call it the Yap-ter 6? Yeah, okay. I want to know how he took like the face of this guy, like why he looks like that. I want to know the secret. Like, why is it so bad?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Did he like sew his face on? Yeah.
Or do you think he's a mistwraith?
Well, I was going to say, we don't know the last 3 powers of it, but it could be something that he has his power on active, and maybe, like, allows him to give a cloak. And maybe the reason that Kelsier's not saying Vin is because maybe it's, like, an emotional thing. Like, maybe you can grow attached to it, or maybe you get too comfortable and you kind of, like, maybe it's, like, addiction. Like, you always have to have it. And so he's rich. He has a supply of it. But Vin, if someone was using it and maybe she got used to it, like you said, it's kind of hard to control.
The reason I was saying maybe he's a mistwraith is because in chapter 8, actually, I believe, we are introduced to mistwraiths, and that they have the ability, or actually that they are, 1, sentient whenever they grow older, and 2, that they have the ability to form their body in any shape that they want by consuming animals.
So I like that theory. I didn't think about that.
Moving on to chapter 7, we get introduced formally to the 8 principal metals, and Kelsier has his little training moment with Vin. She did seem very uncomfortable with the training, actually.
Like, I don't know, she did it. Like, he was like, I had to be pushed off, but like,
This is true.
she like voluntarily just like jumped off, and like, she did it. She almost died, but he saved her, so.
Do we have anything else to say about chapter 7?
I liked it a lot, like a whole bunch. It was my favorite chapter out of the 4.
I also liked it.
I liked it too because it kind of felt like she was like collecting all the powers, like she getting her first taste of everything. Like I don't know.
Chapter 8, we get to see what is beyond the walls of Luthadel, the capital, what's in the mists, and we are introduced to the ideas of mistwraiths, of different towns and how they kind of live outside of the main capital. We meet the terrace man, Saysad, something like that. Something like that.
Yeah, he was my favorite character. In my mind, he just kind of looked like Slender Man. So, I don't know if... picture right here of Slender Man, just in case you guys don't know. Yeah, so we meet this, like, new race of people. Not Ska, not the nobles, but some kind of... They're, like, tall and lanky, and they are... Very serious. They're also enslaved, but they seem to have like they don't have much of a will of their own. They're very much like supportive of the Lord ruler, or like on his side. So we're not quite sure. We just got introduced to this, so we're not quite sure exactly the details of this guy and his whole story. But he alliances with the rebels, which is unique.
I thought of them kind of like, in my head, I guess, I thought of them like a sub-race kind of like ska. Like, they're still like lower class and subservient, but they're just like a different type. I don't know, that's just what I pictured in my head. But I also really liked him. I thought he was funny.
She's gonna learn how to be a woman.
So she's kind of getting pampered. Like on the streets, she always has this apprehensive self about her. Like there was a part where she was given food and then she like brushed off the barley and kept the bread part for later. Like she has this mindset of always being, saving for the future, or like you don't know when your next meal is gonna come, or you don't know whenever you're gonna be alone. You don't know when the next like good sleep is gonna be. But now, like I feel like you can kind of feel this like the shift, like very sudden shift into this life of not being on the streets, not trying to fend for food and everything. So I like that part.
I really liked the character development, how she was like, at the end of the chapter, she was like, I left food on my plate. I've never done that before. And then she's like, is he really like a good guy? Is he trusting? I've never had one of those before. I was like, food, my heart. Oh, precious. I also think there is going to be something with, what's his name, son, club son. I got... Also, I couldn't understand a thing he said. What the hell? Bro was talking in some sort of slang that we just did not understand.
He's basically like their version of Minnesotans.
You should move back to Minnesota.
Yeah,
So like, what do you say? You're saying pop? Don't you mean soda? What are you talking about? But I was also going to mention the food thing and the fact that she left food on her plate, which is something like she's never had, been fortunate to do before. Her morals, her like fundamentals are starting to sway. Ups in the where above with the doing. With master jumps to the third floor. I've got to go. And then he blushes. That's what he says. That's the club's nephew.
So with that is chapter 8. Little sneak peek here of what's to come. Some of the thoughts I had that I was going to bring up. Seems like maybe more than one person writing the entries. Why did Marsh stop leading the rebellion? Who betrayed Kelsier? What did Mare do?
Yeah, she died.
Do Inquisitors hunt Mistings too, or just Mistborn? It's interesting that no one knows if Inquisitors are born with their ability or if they were awakened. Let's see what else. What misting powers would you want, and what do nobles use mist rates for? Because that was mentioned that nobles have another use for mist rates.
It was to like clean up the bodies or something, like after like they're done with all their like dirty work.
I was also thinking that, but
Oh, there was this funny thing where I guess now you can also get a little bit of kind of the environment that they're at, because there was a part where they're talking about trees, and then Kelsey was like, "Oh, these are ugly trees, like ugly some other trees," and Vin was like, no, they look like regular trees. They're like, what are you talking about? Like these are regular trees. And he's like, no, they're not the right color. And she's like, what are you talking about? What other color would they be? And he's like, they're supposed to be green.
Are you stupid? Leaves green? Are you dumb?
But yeah, and then I guess I reread a little bit of the chapter 5, and then whenever he does go to get the ATM from that one place, they do have a conservatory, and he was talking about the colors, and I noticed like they did bring up the colors of the trees, and inside the observatories, like it maintains like the colors that we would expect as people that had been out, where like greens, ambers, gold, and everything like that. So just fun.
a little brew notes just that I wanted to get off the top of my head.
I like the brew notes.
Yeah, a little brew note. This is a brew note about the brew. I liked that they put a lot of cinnamon dust in my brew. It really added to the texture. It was kind of chewy.
Yeah.
Very chewy. I kind of liked it. It was like a little party in my mouth.
Yeah, mine was pretty good. Simple cold brew. I would have liked more sprinkles in mine.
Oh, I didn't know you wanted sprinkles. Plus, Madison's back there, and Madison loves to go crazy on the sprinkles, so. I will be shitting myself later, so, yeah.
I will also be doing that later. I had 2 cups of coffee already today. This is my 3rd, and I shouldn't have had that 2nd cup earlier, and I really shouldn't have had the 3rd, so I gotta go home.
Make sure to support 1820 coffee. I see you, Alan. I see you. 1820.
1820.
Okay, well, do you have any wise words for the chat?
Like, subscribe, and see you in the next video.
That's not what I meant. Can we get a quote?
Like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.
Thank you for listening.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our podcast.
You think that's doing anything?